3, 2, 1.
All right, recording now.
Same.
Okay, wait, what is your favorite color?
Blue. No, wait, red.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Natty 19 podcast. We are here, full crew, once again.
Dude, today was like a perfect day for gaming. With the rain, a little chilly.
Did it rain? It did,
Yeah.
it did.
It was 107 degrees out here.
You don't count.
Ew.
K-Way's playing in dark sun.
Yeah, essentially.
You need to come home, K-Way. What are you doing?
I need to come home.
Where did we leave off? You guys were about a day away from your destination. You came across a halfling corpse hanging from a tree, and it was just pelted with arrows, which you then discovered a group, I guess you'd say, of grungs. Had a pretty good fight there, and you ended up capturing one. You've got one alive. Let's pick it up.
Well, what is a group of frogs called? You know how like
Is it
everything
a
has
clutch? Is it a
School?
Is it a
What? No, that's eggs.
yeah, clutch. I was just gonna say.
I don't know.
That'll
What a
have to be-
group of amphibians would be called.
Anyway, we can't just sit here
Plague?
scratching our heads, throwing words out
Is
there.
that a plague?
It is a plague.
It seems like a plague.
Maybe
A
frogs
locust?
don't have groups.
Solo creatures.
Solitary.
Well, Grungsy's group is dead.
Grungs have groups.
Grungs have
A group
casts,
of grungs.
even, which we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure, because you guys have one. What are you gonna do?
Quincy's going to wipe the mud off his face from battle, and he's going to cast Comprehend Languages.
Ooh, walk me through comprehend languages. 'cause-
Comprehend Languages is a first level spell. It has basic material component, pinch of soot or salt. So he's going to take the material and he's going to just forcibly like smear it on the grung's lips.
Ew.
All right, give me a Constitution.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing?
He's wearing gloves.
He was wearing gloves.
All right, so
Excuses.
what the effects of comprehend languages? What do I got? How much time do you
Okay,
have?
I
Is
have
it-
1 hour.
Okay.
It's actually on myself. I actually cast it on myself, not on a person.
Okay.
So I guess I'll put the soot in my ears. I don't know. Anyway. What?
What the hell are you doing?
I can't hear a word he's saying.
We'll have to fix that in post. For the duration, you understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that you hear. You also understand any written language that you see, but you must be touching the surface on which the words are written. It takes about 1 minute to read 1 page of text. All that stuff is irrelevant. Basically, I just understand any spoken language that I hear.
Okay. You understand, but can you speak it? Oh, shit.
It doesn't say...
But that could be an advantage if it's just spewing at us, maybe. If it thinks we can't understand. I don't know.
Right. We could ask in common. We could ask in Sylvan.
All
Sylvan
right,
might
We have
be
a few
good-
different... I have Draconic as well.
I have halfling.
You could try talking to the hanging body in the tree.
Yes.
You guys speak with dead?
I think I might have that, but like
Not on
not
this
equipped.
character.
Not loaded.
So Quincy will he'll cast it anyway, and he'll speak at first in common, I guess, to the grung, and he'll say, "You, what is your name?"
He speaks gibberish to everybody else, and Quincy, you hear What is it you hope to gain by keeping me alive, poacher?
I'll turn to the group and say, he thinks we are poaching.
Irme will say, in Sylvan, we are not poachers.
He stares at you and his eyes, squint a bit. You get the hint that he has animosity for you still, and there's no indication that he understood what you were saying.
Okay.
I'm going to point to the halfling, and I don't know if I could remember what word he used for poacher or anything like that, but can I just repeat like the last part, like point to the halfling and be like, poacher?
He says, 400 years we have been hunted and skinned by your kind. He spits on the ground towards the halfling.
I just assume you're repeating this back to us, so you don't have to do that all out.
Yep.
Okay.
How much does a frog skin go for?
I'm not exactly sure what we could say or how we could convey that. Like, well, first of all, they attacked us. I guess Quincy's gonna point to the rock, point to the heart, and he's gonna ask, and maybe he'll pick up something from his tone. Or I'm gonna say, do you know what that is?
He looks up through the canopy, seeing and recognizing what you are pointing to, and he says, the flying earth has been bleeding for as long as I've known it. Never has it stopped. The flying earth, no place for grung.
I do not know if you can understand anything that I say here, but we did not come here for you or your kind. We came to see what is in that stone, what is in that floating citadel.
Irme, you might be able to have a better shot, maybe a performance check of using your hands and expressions to get certain, at least certain demeanors across. I'm just trying to think.
Maybe they know Nyanzaru sign.
Yeah. Right. Petrie. Irme is going to assume the most non-aggressive posture that she can. Maybe kneel down even, get closer to his level, and ultimately try to convey that we're not a threat.
Okay, give me a performance check with an advantage.
That was really bad. I'm going to use a bit of luck to roll again.
Okay.
14.
14, you do see he does calm a bit, now realizing that you managed to calm his nerves a bit more. He relaxes. He is still hurt considerably as well, so he's not aggressive per se.
Cappy wants to know why they did that to the halfling. Like, so he's pointing at the halfling and
Why would you do this?
I'm assuming the halfling was a poacher, and thus the harsh treatment.
Is there anything on the halfling to suggest that that's the case?
The halfling had been stripped, but on the... I don't know if you kicked over the corpses of the other grungs last episode, but if you were to do so, I'm sure while this is going on, even Zimwa B or somebody is shifting through the corpses, and he comes back and you do see he's throwing down everything that he finds on the ground, and you see
A filleting knife.
twine, shackles, smaller shackles would fit a small creature, a whip, small whip, not like Xavril's big whip.
Irme is
That's right.
What's tough right now is because the grungs and the halfling are the same size, so it's hard
Right.
it's hard to say who the whip
yeah.
belonged to, the grung or the halfling.
did we gather anything else out of the dead grungs? Anything worth taking? Any
They're
coinage
wearing
or-
bone necklaces. They all look the same as far as the jewelry that they're wearing is all the same. The only thing that's really different about them is what they were wielding, and the color of their skin. But yeah, they're all wearing these bone necklaces and loincloths and stuff, like primitive clothing.
I'm not quite sure what we could do with this little grung. don't know that he doesn't seem to understand anything that I say, and if we let him go, I do not know if he'll gather forces to come after us.
Yes, as the fighters weren't so bad, but the casters were they were powerful.
I would assume there aren't quite as many of those.
But even the one held us up.
Wonder what it was doing this far south. We're days away from the River Tairiki. There's got to be a way we can communicate better.
Irme, you know that if you only had a little bit more time.
I would need a full day with this creature before I could communicate. At least a half a day for very basic words.
He had said something about blood flowing or falling from the heart.
Well,
Irme will, does anybody have a scrape or anything on them?
a scrape?
Yeah, is anyone, who's hurt? Who was wounded in this battle?
Everybody filled
Yeah,
up
I
from
think we
the
healed,
ferry.
yeah.
Alright,
Or
Irme
the
will...
frog that Kayway put down.
Irme
Zavel.
is going to get a little closer in as friendly a manner as possible and reach into her pocket and press her finger against the sharp edge of her crystal and pull it out, and the spot of blood on her finger she'll show to the grung and then point up at the heart.
He says...
Maybe convey a confused look.
He appears confused as well. He shakes his head no, and he says, "The flying earth is no place for a grung. I will not go. I cannot."
Well, we'll take those shackles.
He can't help us with the heart, Irme will say.
He asks, "What will you do with me?"
What do you guys think?
I don't have it in me to just murder him.
No, I'll try
do
to
have
make a
these
gesture
shackles.
on my hand with my fingers, like to flee. Like I'll do a couple hops and then do a gesture with my hand like a little bird flying away. And on one side of my body, and then on the other side, make a more violent gesture. And I will then hold my hands out like the decision's being weighed. Like either we'll let him go or we're going to kill him, essentially. And
Could we just knock him out?
He points up to the halfling and then to you,
What the fuck?
Quincy, and he says, You are not poacher."
he seems to recognize that we are not poachers, so I do not feel too horrible. I do not feel too frightened to let him go. But I do suggest we keep alert if we do.
Even if he were to come back, the right thing would be to let him go.
I would not feel good about killing someone bound like this, even if it is a frog man.
He asks, "How do you understand me?"
I'm not quite sure how to convey that it is through magic.
Irme will try to... She's going to hold up her fingers and intertwine them, trying to show him the weave. Like the magic weave.
Okay. Alright, give me another performance check.
13.
Okay, it takes a little bit, but he does seem to nod.
She will also point to the caster in his group. He would understand that his
red
caster
frog.
has magic, so she'll point to him while trying to
Mm-hmm.
sign the weave to him.
Yeah, after a minute or two of going back with it, he seems to understand now that it's through magic.
Well, is there anything that we could try to get out of him that's left? I mean, it doesn't sound like they know too much about the heart, and
So what do you say so far? It's bleeding. It's been bleeding, the stone.
Yeah, the stone has been bleeding since the grung have known it, essentially. So I don't think he can help us with the heart, and we certainly aren't going to be able to sign to him any questions about Oralunga.
right, and or much else that's in the area. I mean, it's hard enough to communicate with him. I think we should just send him on his way.
He points to Zavril. Noticing Zavril over there, he points to you, Zavril, and he asks again, "He is not poacher?"
He has no. I'm just gonna shake my head no.
I think Cappy and Zavril just laugh at him.
To demonstrate goodwill, I guess I could throw a Cure Light Wounds on him before we release him.
That's a great idea, Quincy.
Okay.
And that way, perhaps they'll just stay clear of us.
After curing him, he appears revitalized. He takes a breath, and he looks at you in a whole new manner now. He appears... Irame, you might get the hint that he appears maybe ashamed for what they've done.
Initiating
what they've
the battle.
initiated, with just based on an assumption. So it definitely appears that you're making progress in terms of changing his demeanor towards a more favorable one towards you guys.
Cappy will give him his little bow.
He looks at you and while taking it, and he says,
Roll for initiative.
Pokes you in the eye with it.
he stands up and he says, the Forked Tongues brokered a deal with the Reds of Dungrunglung several years ago that tipped the scales in our favor. Our sovereign did not approve of this, as they required giving up ancient grung knowledge, specifically our intimate knowledge with the ley lines that grip the land. But somehow the Forked Tongues convinced the Reds to proceed regardless of approval. It was when the power of the Forked Tongues artifact was proven against the abandoned army of Raznasi, became evident to the other castes that, in order to ensure our prolonged survival, we would need to support the Reds when the Sovereign deemed them as traitors. And thus, for the first time in Natty 19 history, the grung operated completely independent from our gold sovereign and embraced the Reds' decision to give up our secrets to the ley lines. Since then, the power to walk among the wretched, the grung once again emerge from the shadows, and the hunters become the hunted.
The Reds, they're helping these red priests.
The Yuanti?
That would be the Forked Tongues. So the So the Yuanti had a deal with these cloaked figures that Anit has seen, and essentially somehow the grung were involved, and they were granted permission to walk amongst the undead. And thus, that's why they're safe here. That's why they're safe hunting in the undead area, because... Right? I mean, that's gotta be what that means.
He nods and he points over to the dead wizard grung, and he says again to Quincy, Reds.
Oh, it's a different...
And you see that the Reds, you see that the wizard is, the caster was the red skinned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
grung.
so not the hooded figures, the red grung.
I immediately went to the red robe figures.
Yeah, same here.
And while right after doing that, he stands up and he walks over to the red one, and he kneels down beside him, and he closes his eyelids with his hand. He says, I am aware it was our fault. We mistook you for poachers, much like all the others we come across.
I'm sorry it turned out the way it did. But we will go in peace now, friend.
Flash him the peace sign.
If you're ever in Port Nyanzaru, remember, the 3 C's shipping and freight has given you your freedom.
He doesn't appear to have understood you at all, but
Nah, I didn't think so.
But he does say, I hope my short tale helps you understand my kind in future interactions.
Quincy will just nod his head.
What would the Yuanti have to gain by letting the grung walk among the undead?
The Reds had some power over ley lines.
Ancient
shit.
grung knowledge that the Yuanti wanted.
So it's gotta be the, oh my god, the things, the built things that
The
help with the
obelisks. The obelisks.
No, not
The
maybe
wards.
the
Or
obelisks.
the obelisks, yeah.
But I was thinking the ley lines that seem to be protecting people from the undead, the built things out of the bone that
The
we found.
wards.
The totems.
The wards.
The wards.
I don't know. I don't know that the Yuanti would care about those so much. Well, maybe they would. I mean, if they wanted something from the... I'm totally... Never mind. I was thinking they might be more interested in setting loose their primordial, but...
If the Yuan-Ti are in charge...
We don't even know that they exist.
If the Yuan-Ti are working for the force that's behind the undead, and the grung had a way of controlling them, encapsulating them through those wards...
I don't think... That's not what I...
No?
What I got out of it was that the grung were not able to walk among the undead until
that's what I got too.
Until they made the deal with the Yuan-Ti.
Yeah, they couldn't walk among them, but maybe the grung are the ones that built the wards that contain them.
They
I
went
won't
pretty
know
far.
until I go back and listen a couple times.
I know, right?
Process
This is
everything
like
you said.
this is tough.
Yeah,
to-
there's a lot of information.
There's a
that
lot of
just kinda
information
came
in
right
that
out.
story.
I like it
One
though.
little
It's
story,
like
yeah.
it's very realistic. It's like we have all the pieces that we need to fit it together, but we can't quite totally extrapolate what's going on.
Well, what do you think, Anit?
I will... This is all extremely extraordinary, if I had to say. Everything that you've said about this little one's story. Honestly, when I heard Reds, I immediately couldn't stop thinking of the Red Hoods that I had been seeing in my dreams. But it is clear he or she meant by Reds is this caste. Dungrunglung. I've heard that name. I believe that's the city the Flaming Fist was telling us about, the settlement at the end of the Tyriki.
The home.
Or at least the larger of their homes. It is clearly a good ways away from here. There must be smaller villages of grung.
I guess, again, what does the Yuan-Ti gain from allowing the grung to walk amongst the undead?
Well, they were looking for ancient grung knowledge.
Yes, I got that too. He said something about trading an artifact that protected him from the army, the abandoned army of
Okay.
Rosna Sea. And they would be gaining the ancient grung knowledge of ley lines. I wish my grandfather were here. He would know more about these ley lines than I.
Do we know that was the obelisk that we encountered at Sakuta Village, was that on a ley line? Do we have that knowledge?
I don't think so.
Might be something we could assume, though.
I don't think any of you guys would, as characters, have any information on ley lines of Chult anyway.
No.
Or their paths.
Okay, that
I wasn't
that-
sure what we uncovered.
Yeah, and that makes
I
more
mean,
sense.
I think I think Irme and Quincy, and maybe even Copernicus and Zavril might have some, what a ley line is, roughly. Legend has it. I don't think they've been proven, but legend has it that there's these mystical lines in the earth, these kind of roads, lattice lines that connect, and the type of energy it is unknown, but it's said that when souls are disconnect from the body at the moment of death or otherwise, a small burst of energy emits, and that energy gradually floats towards the nearest ley line, and that ley line then becomes stronger and more
Okay.
potent.
No, that makes more sense. And when the grung was speaking and Quincy was telling us what he said, it was so much information to absorb that I forgot he spoke of the ley lines and the artifact, and that makes more sense. That's why the Yuan-Ti would broker a deal.
Yeah, some scholars and wizards relate ley lines to the weave of Mistra, almost like the net itself, on a larger scale. And where these points cross are powerful points that might amplify rituals, or the threshold is weak between
Be like
the
the island
multiverse.
on Lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Perhaps two ley lines cross somewhere close to the heart.
Perhaps at the heart.
What was the artifact that the Yuan-Ti had recovered from Taguda Village? Did we ever discover that?
No. It was missing
No.
when we were down there.
It was square.
Zavril, does it always take a force to control the undead? Or have you ever known the undead to organize on their own?
No, normally there's some evil being behind them. They do not just act on their own, at least especially in a group.
Yeah, Zavril's right. Zavril has experienced abandoned undead, but never as a group like the one that ravaged Camp Righteous.
Irame has one more question for our grung friend before he leaves. She's going to try to symbol or trying to sign a forked tongue and then point to the heart just to see if he associates the Yuan-Ti with the heart.
He shakes his head no.
That's good. We probably won't run into Yuan-Ti.
And while he's doing so, you see he's collecting lining up the bodies of his friends, and he pulls the necklaces from their necks, and he hands them to you guys individually.
Wonder if these are wards that would protect us from the undead.
Can you detect any magic on them?
Yeah, I can.
That's a great idea.
And that is another first level spell. So yeah, I'll detect magic on them.
You do detect magic.
Aha.
Faintly. You do detect... I'm trying to figure out the type of magic if you are curious.
Yep. Should be able to tell the school.
Right now I'm leaning towards abjuration. But... give me a sec.
Which tend
Yeah,
to be...
I think it would be abjuration.
What is it?
They tend to be spells of protection or wards.
Nice.
That's right. That is correct, right? All of a sudden I had a moment of
Yeah,
self-doubt.
it's like protective spells.
Yeah, some example abjuration spells would be absorb elements, alarm, aid,
Barriers.
barriers,
Defensive and protective spells.
anti-life shell.
I'll put it on. Cappy will put it on. See, turn into a frog or anything.
Not yet. That would be transmutation.
It's a neat's job
Right.
to kiss you if that happens.
Whoa.
She blushes and thumbs up her glasses. Oh my.
I've never kissed a drow before.
Never kissed a wench.
I've given plenty the drow finger though.
That's what it's there for.
Sybil giggles.
Yeah, we gotta have a check-in with Sybil. It's been a while.
You guys still haven't figured it out, huh?
No.
Figure what out? I just assume Cappy's talking
Why
to
she
her.
hasn't been around?
Why she hasn't been around, yeah.
Hmm.
You have to re-listen to that her last appearance.
That was
I'm
what,
gonna be Sybil for our one-off. That just solidified it.
When was the last time we talked to Sybil? Episode 18 or whatever?
It was your communion.
18.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Was it 18?
Oh
It
man, I
was.
miss
Think
Sybil.
so, yeah.
I
That
like
was a
her.
long
I
time
don't.
ago.
Good riddance.
Yeah, it was right before Zavril started his investigation.
Zavril, you fear so much what you do not know.
Oh, I know the undead.
Sybil seemed quite lively.
Yeah, Quincy will convey thanks to
You're
the
welcome.
grung.
Yep.
Let's send him on his poppy way.
Yep, he scampers off after a quick ritual over the bodies of his fallen.
Would this be considered a short rest, the amount of time we've spent here?
Yeah,
Okay.
for Copernicus especially.
What are the chances that in the pouch of gems that Quincy got from Camp Vengeance that there is a pearl in the pouch?
Oh, I would say... I think I would have Irame roll a percentile. Ooh.
Interesting.
I think I would have Irame roll a percentile for this situation.
What's the target?
Target, I'm gonna call it right now. Let's give it a 25% chance that one is a pearl.
Under 25 and under?
Yep.
I'm assuming that Quincy hands Irame the bag.
No, you don't have to.
No?
Nope.
All right.
Just being in the vicinity.
Do you have some kind of do you emanate out of game? You emanate some sort of
Irame has
luck or something?
yeah, because of her wild magic and her luck points and all the stuff that surrounds kind of just her character in general. Irame finds that oftentimes misfortune isn't always what it seems, and things seem to kind of work out for her in odd situations once in a while.
There's like a bit of a force that manipulates,
Because she doesn't have very good control of her magic as well, she finds that she accidentally manipulates things often.
So shit like this is a perfect opportunity for that to manifest.
38.
That's okay. I was just trying to cast identify on the
Well, if it's a spell in your spellbook, especially one that I would imagine that when you stock up on supplies in town, when you get material components.
It's an expensive one though. It's 100 gold piece.
Oh, so it's not something. But is that consumable though?
Oh.
I think you just need to have a pearl that's worth 100 gold. I don't think it's consumed.
I have a small diamond that I need to cast one of my spells, but because Irame's wealth, she
That's a
had
good
it,
point.
and it doesn't get used when she uses the spell. She just needs to have it.
Okay, that's a good point. I just assumed, for some reason, it was consumed.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Okay, wait, what do you think about this one? It's interesting.
I know, mine consume spells or consume the components.
All
and those
components?
Those are 25 gold per. So I think the higher ones tend to do that. But I'll look it up real quick.
Because I thought... Yeah, I could be completely wrong.
It's also a ritual spell, but I wasn't sure if ritual spells also require components. And then there's the whole focus thing as well.
Yeah, the focus, you can bypass material components if they don't have a gold value.
Okay.
No, it does not consume the pearl.
Ah.
Yeah, so I would think Quincy would have one. I don't know, though. If it's a spell that you have in your book,
absolutely.
And it's a one-time purchase, I could see it happening.
Yeah, he absolutely would. All right, so that sounds like a good retcon. Yeah, so he wants to cast Identify on the necklaces that we just got.
Yeah, there's no real... they're tied to another magical item. They don't really have a name. It's almost like it's a set piece, is the best way I can describe it. So they're pretty much useless on their own.
Right. Oh, really? So you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement, how many charges it has.
Yeah, so through the Identify spell, you realize that it's a set, and they're useless without the other piece, but they are active right now. So it leads you to assume that they're connected to something else that is empowering them.
And what effect do they have?
It's a protective ward. It makes it so undead can't see you, essentially.
So is it invisibility to undead?
Yes.
Nice.
I guess.
But they're not working right now.
No, they're working right now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are, so they're connected somehow.
Yeah, they're currently connected.
So I don't know if it's a range thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're assuming that if you were to go too far away from the receiver or the
source,
the other piece, then And based on what the grung was saying, that other piece could be that artifact that was traded to them from by the Yuan-Ti.
All right.
This is awesome. Like, this is a lot of information.
What should I mark that as?
But you guys know as casters that they do have to be attuned to you.
Okay.
I don't know about this attunement. What do you do to attune it?
You take a rest. During your rest, you can attune a magical item, I believe. Okay, we'll look it up real quick. You can have up to 3 magic items attuned at once, I believe.
Would my compass count as one? I assumed from the beginning. No, really?
Not all magical items require attunement.
Gotcha.
But these necklaces do. Because they're pretty powerful.
How early or late in the day is it?
Currently?
I don't remember what time of day it was when we got into the fight.
I think it was nearing. Let me try to bring it back here.
A few hours after waking. We
Okay.
find the dead halfling, and then we fought.
So we're probably only halfway through the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for attunement, it's just a short rest, and you find out how to, like, if it has any command words or anything like that.
And how many magic items can you have attuned to if there's a 3?
And what's the name of
It's
the item?
3.
A bone necklace.
I'm trying to do a 4th when it automatically fails.
Isn't there a spell? Wasn't there a spell for invisibility?
There was an
Instant
EQ, that's for sure.
Yes, there definitely was an EQ.
A specific
Necro's
undead
got it.
invisibility? Yeah. I thought there
Hey,
was
so did
indeed.
Shadow Knights.
Yes, yeah. You love Shadow Knights, huh?
I do love Shadow Knights.
I'm on the spell list right now. I can... No, in this there's just greater invisibility, and see invisibility as far as
So
spells go.
greater invisibility might be all the things that...
Right, but this isn't greater invisibility. This is specific to undead.
Okay. Cool.
If the grung have this artifact and they are at the basin of what river, Copernicus?
The Tairiki.
I think it'd be fair to assume that we might be okay within this undead territory until the heart, but anywhere else they might be rendered useless.
Yes, I would assume it would be some radius around the base of the Tariki. Around the city of Dungrunglung. Dungrunglung?
That's grung for shitty frog land?
Come now, Erme, that is in poor taste.
Dungrungland.
What was in poor taste, Quincy, is when you touch that frog's mouth.
That did not happen. I retconned that. I rubbed some ashes on my finger. Shh.
Now tell us all your secrets.
Shh. Quiet, little one.
Long time ago, before you were born, I told you a secret. And I went, shh. All right. Through rigorous efforts, through the darkened jungles, finally, by midday on 14 Hammer, you hear bushes rustling from ahead of you. It's Zimwabi returning from a short-range scout, and he says, "Come, this way. We are nearly there." Yeah, Anit lets out a quiet groan as she brings herself to her feet. She walks by you, Quincy, and you take a moment to consider her tangled hair and mud-smeared face, smudged glasses. The young scholar you met in Nyanzaru Market Ward a 10-day ago, now being tempered and honed by the jungles of Cholt in a way no books could prepare you for. You are familiar with the transformation, not only in the way that it had affected you, but also Irame, even Copernicus and Zavril, who you initially thought to be tempered already. You've seen the changes in everybody. Following Zimwabi a bit further, thick jungle canopy opens up to reveal the massive floating stone, roughly 100 feet up. A petrified tree towers above the stone, with its stone roots protruding from the bottom. And between the shape of the rock and the branching of the tree's limbs, it creates the impression of a gigantic stone heart hanging in the sky. The impression is only made more gruesome by the red liquid dripping from the roots down into a red swampy inlet. You see a cave mouth in the side of the slowly rotating heart, and a staircase winding up from the cave up to the flattened top where that petrified tree stands. The staircase definitely is not natural. It was carved with tools into the rock. And I will give you a visual.
Thank goodness. I want to see this thing.
So the heart really is bleeding.
Yep, sure is. All right, so
Looks like a turnip.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
or a radish or something.
And it's just floating up there. There's nothing connecting
It's floating
it to the
and
ground.
rotating slowly.
Oh, that's fucking creepy. and off the roots is like blood dripping down into the swamp.
Down into the so the you assess that the inlet that this red liquid is dripping into is an inlet from the Eldani Basin based on your map, where it was getting mucky and shallow. It's just a swampy area now on the tip of the Eldani Basin.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Is it as it was in your vision, Anit?
Anit is rubbing the muck off of her lenses, and she puts her glasses back on her face, and she says, "Yes, the tree. I knew it. You were right, Quincy. It was the heart the whole time. How do we get up there?"
I know.
Everyone looks over at you, Arame.
I can rise up, but only on my own.
So then will you pull the hut down for the rest of us?
You said it's about 100 feet up, right?
Yes.
I've got 50 feet of rope. Does anybody else have any rope? You could fly up there and tie it off.
I have rope, but did I give it to you?
Zimwoodby says, "I was going to bring rope, Copernicus, but you said you had some, so I did not."
It appears that I have some rope. For some reason, I think Irma either used her rope or gave it away, though.
Yeah, it does.
I
No.
should check. I think
no,
Quincy
I
probably
didn't.
has some rope.
I am so sorry. You know what? That was from our other campaign.
Yeah, that was.
I gave... Maka gave
Gave Ash
Ash her rope.
Yeah.
That's
right?
Yeah,
Whoa, that was weird.
Yeah, because Ash was like, "What kind is it?"
that's right.
I said it was woven from the hair of my enemies.
And she's like, "It's rope."
Ash was really in the rope.
I know.
It's useful.
Whoa.
And grappling hooks.
It always makes me think of the movie with the Irish brothers. The Catholic Irish
Boondock
brothers.
Saints.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
I don't know why I was stuck on that.
Okay, so we're rummaging through our gear to see what we could do to support this plan, huh?
Anit sits down and opens her journal. And she starts thumbing through it as if she's looking for something.
If Anit does not come up
She's
with
jotting
a
things
better
down
plan,
as well.
perhaps I could fly up, fasten rope around the tree, and let it down for the rest of us, for the rest of you.
Yeah. I mean, you can take my grapple hook too.
Zavril smiling. He's
It's a bad idea.
don't
I
know
suppose you're
how
right,
else we're gonna
Zavril.
get up there.
What could be awaiting me up there? I could always fly off,
It does look like you have been drawn to the heart as of recent.
and I don't know why. It does not serve the purpose that I am here for. That we know of so far, anyway.
Strangely enough, Quincy does not have any rope.
Odd, because you're kind of a sailor. Right? I mean,
I don't know why, but the way you said that sounded funny.
Well, if we didn't have the rope, how else would we get
because
up
it was
there?
it was half Irma, half Christy. That's why.
Zimwoodby begins rummaging through his pack. He's like,
I mean, I have rope.
Okay, Zavril's got some rope.
A real adventurer never leaves with that rope.
Right.
We could tie his whips together.
Oh,
along
hold
with
on
the-
a moment. Let me ponder a moment here.
Can you fly us all up?
I can actually fly 2 of us up. But
Well-
that would be expending the far side of my magic
Yeah, we don't know what we're getting into up there.
out of Irme. That would be both of my 3rd level spells. So if we were to come into combat of any kind.
At the same time, 100 feet climbing on rope isn't exactly a walk in the park. Like, I don't think a neat can do it.
Yeah, but at the same time, if I'm going to fly anyone up there to help me, I don't think Anit would be...
The one.
no offense, Anit.
Oh, none taken.
And they both push their glasses up together.
She goes back to digging. She appears to be digging for something in her journal. She's also committing a rough sketch to it.
Yeah, I actually think Irme would like to do that while we're all debating as well.
So what information do we have on the heart? We went through this already.
Can we roll a perception on the red substance?
Absolutely. Investigate.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to touch it.
Just
Not knowing.
taste it. It's fine.
No, it's fine. It's wine.
Since he has a pretty good investigation.
Yeah. I think it would be investigation.
I'll aid Quincy. Mine's shit, so.
All right, so that's an advantage. They're both natty 17s, which is 25.
No, not bad. Damn. You can investigate. Sherlock fucking
Investigating
Holmes
fool.
over here.
Yep. So after about maybe 5 minutes or so, you come to the realization that the red liquid dripping from the petrified roots is, in fact, an optical illusion where the sun is meeting high deposits of iron.
I knew it.
Dun dun dun.
You knew it?
I did. Well, I suspected. As a player, not as a... Irme didn't fucking know.
You didn't think it
Yes,
was really
as a
dripping
player,
blood,
I think we all
did you?
thought.
Yeah.
Quincy puts his finger in it, touches it to his mouth.
Cappy's really
Well, it would
disappointed.
taste like blood, wouldn't
It's
it, a little
iron.
bit, because of the iron levels?
Cappy's disappointed. It's not blood. Damn.
It's iron.
So can we assume at its core it's metal?
It's a fair assumption.
Well, it's kind of neat because if it's at ley lines, popular like actual real world belief, ley lines have to do with magnetism and stuff.
So if you believe that fucking garbage.
Even if you don't believe it, it's fun. Okay.
All right. So now it's been what? You were rummaging, you were discussing things, and also you did the investigation on the water. Had to have been at least, 10 minutes or so?
Yeah.
You hear a female voice call from above.
Uh-oh.
Who are you, and why do you look at my doorstep?
I am Quincy Fallow
And who are you?
of the 3 C's Shipping and Freight.
I love that.
And why are you looking at my doorstep?
Quite below your doorstep.
All the same.
We've come seeking the Heart of Ubtao.
Ah, you have found it.
All right, we'll be on our way. Thank you.
You may call me Valindra. If you are not aggressive, I shall welcome you. She's talking in Elven, by the way.
Oh,
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
I'm not a witch. I'm your wife.
If you are not aggressive, I shall welcome you up for a normal conversation. But only 5 of you. My home is of modest capacity. Select your key members and I shall open a gate. Rest assured your friends will be safe below. should they not wander too far into the jungle.
It would only be one that would be left
behind.
behind.
Does anyone
That's
have...
pretty shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone have a fear of heights?
I vote for Zimwabi to stay.
Yeah, Zimwabi stands up. He says, I will stay. I will stay.
I agree. That seems to make the most sense.
We can't leave a neat down here.
Irame, yes, I agree, but Irame is going to look to Zimwabi, recalling his story of the warriors on the birds, and be a little saddened that he won't be joining us because he was inspired by them in a way.
He says, please, Zimwabi has no interest in going up so high. I will be okay on the ground. I will look after our things.
Stay safe, Zimwabi.
If the woman speaks the truth, I shall be fine.
Irame is going to hook him up with a little bit of protection just in case.
All right. While you're doing that,
I guess I could as well.
If I was to cast mage armor on Zimwabi, it would be his it would be 13 plus his dex modifier. Is that even higher than his AC anyway?
How long does that last?
8 hours.
Oh, that's a good one.
But it might be useless.
his AC is 15.
What's his dex mod?
His dex mod is 3.
So it'd make his AC 16.
Yeah, he says, Irame, please, I will be fine. I see no threats.
Okay.
I could burn a 3rd level spell
Nah.
for the hut.
She rather likes your hide, Zimwabi.
I do. That was why I didn't want to leave him.
I understand, but to be fair, I would prefer you to be in your best form entering that place. Do not worry of me. I have plenty of places to run if need be. It is you all I am concerned about.
All right, shall we go into the hut?
The woman produces a scroll, and a few moments later, a shimmering portal opens in front of you. And looking into it, you see the entrance to that cave up top.
Ooh, I thought we went over this. I do not like teleporting.
It makes me think of Star Trek, like your atoms being all...
Right, similarly, I was thinking
might
of
not get-
Willy Wonka's.
Yeah, you might not be put together the right way on
What
the
if
other
I'm really
side.
little when I get to the other side?
So Cappy will walk in.
It doesn't look like you're going to dematerialize. It literally looks
okay.
like the opening, like you're stepping onto the ledge of the, of the
Irame
rock.
will look to her friends and then step through.
And you come out really little.
What the fuck, guys? Me. I didn't even want to come to the heart. Now I'm at the heart, and I'm really little, and this is stupid.
All right.
Embracing the mousy hair.
Valindra stands up there. You now see she is a pale elf. Irme, you recognize her as a moon elf.
Ooh, fancy.
She has shoulder-length blonde wavy hair. She looks extremely formidable. She
Is
says,
that your way of telling us not to attack her?
She says, please, come in. And Zavril, you entering the cave. Well, there's some flavor text for when you enter. I wasn't going to read it, but fuck it. This cave, because some of the flavor text is weird. This cave is musty and dimly lit by daylight, filtering down through the hollow, petrified tree trunk, 20 feet above. A pool of dirty rainwater occupies the central 20 feet of the floor, between natural pillars formed by the roots of the petrified tree. 3 tall bookcases stand against the wall to the right of the cave entrance, and a desk and several wooden crates stand against the left-hand wall. Opposite the entrance are 2 open doorways into smaller chambers, and between them, 1 large iron cage. And I can actually give you a visual of this room.
Nice. Did you give us her name? She said her name?
Valindra.
Did we get a sense of the size of the heart as a whole? Is it gigantic, or is it the size of a house?
I'm gonna bring it up right now. One square equals 5 feet on this, so this should give you a.
So it's about 85 feet by 80 feet.
All right, and on the southern end there is where the cave entrance is. What brings you this far into the jungles?
Well, you're home.
We've been escorting this one here. Her name's Anit. She's been having visions of red-robed wizards.
Anit appears extremely shy.
Oh, don't be shy, Anit. Come on up, introduce yourself.
She's hello there. I am Anit. And Valindra appears to take great interest in her. Anit, what interest do you have in the Heart of Ubtao? And Zavril, you looking around the room, you immediately know that there are traces of undead all throughout this place. Looking at spell components laying around on the desks, you see skulls, candles, corpses of mice, necromancy.
Irme is going to squint at Zavril upon seeing him look around the room and notice that he's got a one-up on everybody. She's observant.
She says,
Yes.
please have a seat. You are my honored guests. I don't get many.
Forgive me for questioning the rules of your domicile, but why is it that you could only accept 5 guests?
Well, I don't want to be cramped up here. You can see I've got important work going on. I can't very well keep my eye on more than a handful of you.
Can I do like an insight check on her to see if I'm getting any kind of whiffs of bullshit or anything? Like maybe she's hiding something from us?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you straight up, you get a feeling of fucking dread in here.
Oh.
Yeah, like, how bad does it stink in here?
Yeah, Irme is very nervously looking to Zavril. For sure, as they look around.
Yes, and Zavril is very on edge.
Yeah, I mean, she appears to be a necromancer. Hands down, for any caster that, anybody with an eye for the magic or undead.
Quincy will he'll try to maintain a polite, guest appearance, and just explain, you see, I'm a budding archaeologist, and well, we've only been on the peninsula for how long has it been? A few weeks now, a couple of 10 days,
month.
A few 10 days.
Don't listen to him. We are warriors.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
What is, you see, this place, it is fascinating to me, and when I heard about this Heart of Ubtao, I just had to see it for myself. We did not expect it to be occupied, not by somebody just simply residing here. I figured it would be occupied by more rodents and the such, like any abandoned cave. You quite took us by surprise.
Oh, I understand entirely. I was not here always, and it was just in that disarray when I arrived, but a year ago at most. And scanning around, Zavril, I imagine you're still kind of investigating, looking around without trying to draw too much suspicion. You do notice so on her desk there's books that you can only assume to be spell books. There's scroll cases, vials, potions. There's like an alchemy. What would you call it? Like an alchemy lab. Yeah, not Not like a little traveler's kit, but a full-fledged lab setup up here, as if she had been working. This is like a workshop, you know? It looks more like a workshop than any kind of domicile, for sure.
Right, understand.
There's not even a bed up here.
Is she letting us walk freely around the room?
The further you get from the seats that she waved at you, her eyes go right to you.
Okay.
She says, "So you're explorers, that's it."
Yes, we've come in with the 3C shipping and freight to make a name for ourselves in Port Nyanzaru.
Well, that's rather disappointing. I was hoping for something a little bit more grand.
Wow, there's nothing more grand than discovering the world, taming it.
Tell me, have you heard of the soulmonger, by chance?
I have not heard of such thing.
The soulmonger?
The soulmonger is that
The only manga in the land?
no, what was the name of the guy that
More charades?
No, the name of the man that
Oh, it does ring a bell.
ran the
doesn't
plague of the undead.
Oh,
Rosinci.
Rosinci, yeah.
So Irme will just say, Rosinci?
She says, no, of course not. It is a powerful necromantic artifact that traps the souls of the dead. It is in fact the origin of the infamous death curse that has plagued the world, and I am purposed with finding it. You see, my employer is the one who discovered that the source of the death curse originated from Cholt, and he spread word to the Harpers and such. I was the one who discovered it was the work of the soulmonger.
And, who is your employer?
That is information you are not privy to.
Are you?
Forgive me.
Were you sent here to solve the riddle of the death curse, to cure it?
I am here to recover the soulmonger. In order to study it, quarantine it, of course, to eliminate this death curse, save the world and such. This, Quincy fellow, is grand.
How do you suppose to do that in a floating rocket in the sky?
Ha! She scoffs at you. Says, look around you, girl. This is my workshop. Great things happen here.
Seems our grander missions are aligned then.
So you are more than just explorers? Please, indulge me.
Well, the death curse is something we're obviously interested in, along with everyone else in Faerun, I would assume.
We had just always believed that accomplishing such a task was above our pay grade, so to speak. We do not consider ourselves,
Heroes.
of such caliber, certainly.
Well, by the looks of you, you most certainly don't fit the bill, as it were. But one must reach for the stars, Quincy.
I do believe you are right. I couldn't agree more.
Forgive me. I sometimes forget how to act around others. As you can tell, I do not get out much. I am consumed by my work.
It must be horribly lonesome here.
Oh, I have company, just not the very talkative type.
Your work is quite fascinating. The necromantic arts are most appealing to me.
Oh, yes, of course. You noticed. And what did you say your name was, my dark elven friend?
Copernicus Heart. The Black Heart.
Copernicus Heart, the Black. I like the name, the Black Heart. I like it. She puts a finger across your cheek in a playful manner that reminds you very much like Sybil would.
I'll trace where she touched me with my own finger.
This is getting sketchy.
She says, perhaps we can work together should you share a similar goal.
Just think of the fame and fortune that it would bring to the 3C's shipping and freight were we to be a party to such a discovery. I do believe that it would be beneficial for us to align ourselves with somebody who knows a thing or two.
She approaches you, Zavril. Slowly, calmly. And what say you, my menacing-looking friend? You have not said a word since you have entered my abode. Interesting choice of weaponry.
How close is she to me?
5 feet. Irme, looking around, you notice there is a circle, a magic circle on the ground that you recognize as that's used by wizards. You're assuming all wizards, but you've only ever seen elven mages use them to teleport or transport themselves from one point to another. The destination is usually tied to a combination of runes or sigils, like a pass key or something, you know? You don't see any of those sigils anywhere, but you do know that this portal is very reminiscent. And as a matter of fact, Quincy, you investigated a similar item in Taguda Village. It wasn't quite built yet, but you do see a resemblance. And as a matter of fact, you recall certain sigils marked on the one in Taguda Village. And perhaps if you were to thumb back through your journal that you jotted it into, you may have drawn those sigils.
Irme, while noticing the sigils and what appears to be how she gets around, is going to almost smile to herself when thinking back to her comment about being stuck up here in a rock. And she's still not going to say anything. She can't get her bead on this woman. She doesn't know what to give up of our information or what to say in general. She just knows this woman is extremely powerful. She's going to ask her, do you control the undead area around the Heart of Ubtao?
She, sensing tension building between Zavril and Valindra, you ask that.
While that happens, I have the feeling she's undead herself. Can I do like some type of investigation to see that?
I'll let you. I'm trying to think if it's investigation or insight or, I mean, what, give me a little bit more.
Like, obviously, I think it's some type of magic that she has that to look. I was trying to see through my skills or whatever if, there'd be a way to detect through that, but I couldn't find anything. I think she has some type of illusion up, and I really don't believe this lady at all.
Yeah, I'm so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you give me an investigation check, but, I don't see, or an insight. I don't know how much information you can glean to give you the answer you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I was trying to look through my skills, but
I think that's why Irme just wanted to come out and ask.
Yeah, she whips her head to you, Irme, and says, I only wish I was a powerful enough necromancer to control that horde of abandoned undead. It's such a shame.
With all this gloomy talk of undead and the brooding Mr. Dontracker, forgive him, please. We've been journeying for quite some time. I would like to lighten the mood if you don't mind music being played.
I would like to get to business. I grow tired. Now she's staring back at you, Zavril. She says, I grow weary. Are we working towards a similar goal, or are you in the way of my own goals?
She gets right to it. No time for niceties or dinner or anything like that.
No, I would.
What is your goal?
As I said, I seek the soulmonger.
to end the death curse.
Of course, that is my aim. I'll be straight with you, as I see you are skeptical, as if you had never been in the presence of a necromancer before. I find it to be odd.
I'm totally relaxed.
She smiles at you, Copernicus. She says, I hope to work with others. I believe that working with others will help achieve my own personal goal. And that goal would be to retrieve the soulmonger in one piece, if I can. I would like to study this artifact. Nothing more. While it is in quarantine, of course, the world will be free of this death curse. That is my aim. Now, if I cannot accomplish that, sure, we can destroy it. But I think it would be such a waste to destroy such a powerful device.
Have you any leads on the whereabouts of the soulmonger?
I am glad you asked. Now, we are getting to business.
What of the red wizards, or the red-robed men that Neat came looking for?
Ah, yes, the red-robed men. Those, admittedly, are my allies, for now. They are here to help us, and without their help, I would not have as much information as I have on the whereabouts of the soulmonger, which I am about to relay to you. Those red-robed men are the red wizards of Thay. I understand they carry a poor reputation, and I'll understand if you choose to not work with me because of that, but know that they are only my allies in this moment, because we share a common goal. This is something that you all can understand, I trust.
Cappy nods his head.
Irame nods, but in her mind she's thinking, and how long will we be your allies?
Quincy's going to glance at Anit just to see what her reaction to that news is.
Anit is still kind of partially... She's taking partial cover behind you, Quincy. She's actually, now that you notice, she's clutching your arm.
I'll put one hand on the hand that she's clutching my arm with, just to try to ease her mind a little.
She says, yes, I do believe, I do believe so. I believe I have all the information that I needed. Says the information you are looking for, the location of the soulmonger. It is in a city that is long lost. Very difficult to reach, but I can take you there. Well, I can at least make it a bit easier for you to get there. It is called Omu.
Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Knew it.
Yes, we have heard of it. I'm just glad you didn't say Orlunga.
I half expected Orlando.
I did you.
I knew it was going to go right back to the Yuanti.
Then perhaps next week we can finish this. Ancient grung knowledge that the Yuanti wanted.
So it's got to be the
What are we doing here?
Balls.
We're playing D&D. What's this game?
It's got to be the
Dick and balls.
Charades.
no. It's got to be. I'm struggling for the word. It's got to be the.
Serpent?
It's got to be those small constructions.
Erections. I was so close.
Oh my god, the things, the built things that
The
help with the end.
obelisks. The obelisks.
No, not maybe
wards.
the
Or
obelisks.
the obelisks, yeah.
But I was thinking the ley lines that seem to be protecting people from the undead, the built things out of the bone that
The
we found.
wards.
The totems.
The wards.
The wards.